it goes right into, I recently had a video do well on TikTok and Instagram, and it was talking about how my father used to say in the 80s that he would turn off shows because every show was beginning to emasculate men. So every show, the man was the idiot, the man was the secondary leader, the man was not a partner. He was just some dumb guy who was showing up in the room. It was like Hollywood was, and of course, I used to think my dad was crazy at this point in time. Like, Dad, everything can't be bad. And you look back and you look at all the shows. I mean, really only I think Tim Allen might have been the only one that actually had a show where he was a considered a dominant father, and that was removed and
I
had to
I
get put on a
I
different channel.
systematically reviewed every one of the 100 most popular shows right now. There is one show on American television which depicts a father as reliable, productive, and competent. That one show is Blue Bloods, starring Tom Selleck. It is a unique show because it does portray a father as competent. It is not characteristic. When I do this presentation for parents, I then show Modern Family. Modern Family is a much more typical show where
Correct.
the
Yes.
father is utterly incompetent. The straight dad is always a klutz, a loser who has no insight into how much of a loser he actually is. And that's much more typical of the way that fathers are now portrayed.
And it's hard because Modern Family is so well written and so
Yes.
funny. It's a great show, it's a great show for someone like myself who already understands the value of a father and the value of a husband and the role of a gentleman and a man in a relationship.
Well, I
Um,
don't know what you mean by a great show. It's not a great show for kids to watch
no,
because
not for kids.
because it really undermines the authority of parents because the straight dad is utterly incompetent.
He's awful. I mean, Phil is completely out of it. But I think it's funny because my dad would make us turn that stuff off growing up. And my dad did not like it and he could see it as a trend that was becoming more and more dangerous. And and you look fast forward through the 90s into the 2000s and now we sit in a place where this is a major challenge for families. You have that role of teaching. You just talked about how there's no real role models for these gentlemen and men to grow up to see. And so it's more and more important for this to be something that we're teaching and leading and maybe elevating the right kinds of role models so that they can understand it. And but we're a long way away with. You said you reviewed how many shows? There
100.
were 100
I
shows and
looked
only
at
one.
went through the 100 most popular shows, and only Blue Bloods is the only show that depicts a father as
It's
competent.
unreal. It's unreal. I mean, I think that's a an unbelievable challenge that we face today, and it's a challenge for men and women because women also need a good husband, a good father, a good leader, and this is important for both genders. I mean, it's very important for male and female to have partners
Mhm.
that know what they're great at and pick up for each other where you're not. And it doesn't have to be one thing or another, but the man cannot always be the dumb dope who doesn't know how to make a decision, who's overruled continuously because he's just not that important. And it's definitely something that I think is a challenge that we're seeing everywhere. Well, your topics are very pertinent to today's pop culture, and they're really important to help raise strong boys so that we don't have to repair broken men, as Frederick Douglass said. It's one of my favorite quotes.
Mhm.
And I'm a big proponent of mentorship. I've done a ton with the Boys and Girls Clubs over the years, and I just think that this is a really important thing. That if you are listening to this and you are somebody who stands up for the right things and can help lead this next generation, you're needed even more now. You're needed even more to be involved in your church, to be involved in your town, your community, because the impact you can make is so exponential. That's what you're telling us today. If you like clips like this, I have a similar clip here. And if you want to watch the full video, click here.